Hello, hello. How is everybody? Thank you for being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching my videos and enjoying them. Well, today started off a bit crappy because we've been cleaning poo up off the bathroom floor. But there we go. This happens more often than not. In fact, we've decided that we're going to take a little write down, like a little food diary and incidents and what happens, to see if we can work out if there's any trends here. Just to see if there's anything we can do to reduce the accidents that we have around the place. I'm using the royal we because we're sharing all of these experiences. But anyway, this week I want to talk about how I tried, but I failed. So what else has been going on this week? Well, the Formula One that was at the weekend, that was really nothing to write home about. It was quite boring. It was at Bahrain, and Bahrain comes and goes a bit. There has been some good races there, but often they're a bit boring. And Max Verstappen just disappeared off into the distance. So that was quite boring. But it kept Mick occupied for a few hours over a few days, and it is his thing. So we still make an event of it. It's something that we can sit down and share together, and it's on Sky Plus, so we can watch it as and when we want and pause it as and when we want. So it's quite convenient, really. But I had a good few things happen this week. I met a friend early on Sunday morning, and we went for a long walk and a chat on the beach at Leon Solent. And as it turned out, it was absolutely glorious day. We thought it might rain, so I'd agreed that I'd pick her up and we'd go for a drive to the beach. And if it was wet and raining, we'd sit in the car and then we'd go to a cafe. And if it was nice, we'd walk along the beach. But it was glorious. I mean, it was chilly when we first started out, but the sun was out, and actually even quite early at sort of 9ish, it was quite busy down there, which is quite nice to see. Dogs running around, kids screaming, but not so busy that it wasn't, we did get a few peaceful moments, but it was just really fabulous. And it really was so warm that at one point we went and got ourselves a hot chocolate, and we sat on a bench and we took our coats off, and I was just in my t-shirt in the end because it was so warm out of the wind and in the sun. It was fabulous. But it was really nice to have a conversation with her, because she's got a partner who's got some health issues as well. He can't work, and his life has kind of changed, which means that her life has changed. So we're in quite similar situations. And what was really nice, and I probably shouldn't say this, but honestly, it was nice to talk to somebody in a similar situation who understands how you feel. And we did actually do some sort of like thinking about what we might do with our lives after they've popped their clogs. Um, don't get me wrong, neither of us, are happy about the fact that they're going to die, but they are going to die at some stage. So it was about thinking, preparing ourselves, planning, being realistic about it, because actually we are both going to have lives, maybe, certainly for me, it's going to hopefully be about 30 years I'm going to have after Mick does pop his clock. So it's quite nice to have those dreams. But also we spent some time talking about, what we're going to do over the next couple of years, and, to make the most of Mick's life. And, her partner will be around for a bit longer, but just, how we deal with it. It's just nice to talk to somebody who's in that same place and not feel guilty about the things that you're talking about. So that was good. However, the way we tried and failed was that it was disappointing, because we were walking along the seafront. It was so lovely. And we came across a cafe that had a sign outside for whippy ice cream. And we went in to try and get a whippy ice cream, even though it was only like 10 o'clock in the morning by this time. But the machine was broken. The machine was broken. And why have you got a whippy sign outside if your machine's broken? So that was really disappointing. And if I haven't told you before, I am a huge whippy fan. I love ice cream anyway, but Mr. Whippy is my absolute favorite. And I actually have a reputation on social media amongst people that follow me for my consumption of ice cream. So if you follow me anywhere else, you will definitely see me eating ice cream many times, particularly Mr. Whippy's over the summer. So that was a bit of a shame, but there we go. But it was fabulous morning, and I dropped her back home about 11ish, and it was such a gorgeous day that Mick, when I got home, I persuaded Mick to come outside, and we actually sat out in the garden for an hour or so, when the sun was really warm. I mean, he had his coat and his hat on, but that's okay. We sat outside and just chatted about, the future, his future, what we were going to do, holidays we might want to have, where he'd like to go. I mean, my dream, my long-term dream, is to live somewhere sunny on a beach and maybe like rent out deck chairs, a really chilled life, talking to people, being in the sun, shorts and t-shirt, healthy glow about me, bleached hair from the sun. That really appeals to me. Whether that'll ever happen or not, but hey, it's nice to have a dream. And for Mick, there's a few things he wants to do. He wants to do his cruises, which we will do. But one of the things he mentioned was that he wanted to go and see the tigers at Marwell Zoo. So we'll do that once he's out of his recuperation stage, and once we've got some proper decent weather, then we'll take him there. So it was lovely just to sit out in the garden together, and the sun on our faces, enjoying each other's company. He had a call with his multiple sclerosis consultant this week. These happen, they're supposed to be yearly. And then it moved to about 13, 14 months. And then because he was in hospital, we moved it again. So it was nearly 18 months since we've spoken to them. And it's really a waste of time. It's always been a waste of time because you can't really do anything for him. Sometimes they can help manage some symptoms of the MS, but really there's nothing much that they can do. So we just kind of keep on the system just to make sure that we are in the system just in case. But and this time it's even more of a waste of time because he knows what's happening to Mick. He knows of Mick's condition. So the only thing that we did do was that we asked if we could be referred to the continence service, so we can have a chat with somebody to see if there's anything that we can do about his loose bowels, even if it's just managing it, even if it's medical equipment or tips or advice. Because it actually really worries me. And the toilet thing is the thing that stops us doing things. His disability is one thing, but we've got wheelchairs, and if he gets tired, we can, sit down, and that's all fine. It's the toilet thing that stops us going places, because you just never know when he's going to need the toilet, and when he needs it now. And the one thing that is on my mind is when we go on the cruise. Now, I know it's a few months away, but this could still be an issue. And I don't really want to find myself wandering around Barcelona, and somebody suddenly gets caught short. And toilets are not that easy to find, particularly in Europe. They don't have public toilets the same way as we do here. So that worries us. But so we want to have a chat with the continent service to see if there's anything that we can do to help. Whether there's tablets you can take to kind of like slow down any bowel movement, or whether there's, like, I've heard of like medical butt plugs. I know it sounds a bit sexual, doesn't it? But apparently there are medical versions of butt plugs where might be able to pop them up and stop anything sort of coming out for a few hours at a time. So we just want to get some advice really and help, because if we could sort that out, that would absolutely open up lots of different things for us to do. Now, one other thing where I tried and failed, but have now succeeded, is that when Mick came out of hospital in September, we were offered physio support, which was great because obviously, particularly with his MS, but even having been in hospital for 3 weeks and then he went back in obviously for 5 days and then another 3 days, you lose, your muscles start to waste and you lose your strength. So we were offered physio, but when they rang to actually talk to us about it, seems that they had a 3 to 6 month waiting list. So I tried to push them. I tried to say, look, if he needs help, he needs it now. He won't need it in 6 months' time because he'll be stronger by then. But I failed. And they said, we're really sorry, but we're so stacked up, we'll put you on the waiting list. I thought, okay. So I was like, well, keep us on the waiting list anyway. Give us a shout when you've got capacity, and we'll decide whether we need it or not at the time. Of course, as it's turned out, Mick's been back into hospital, obviously, sort of, what's that, January, February time. So he's only been home for about 4 weeks. So they rang this week and offered us an appointment for next week. So we have said yes. So I know the guy I spoke to, he did come around before 2021, I think he said, when we looked it up. He's a big guy, big Polish guy, really nice, but massive guy, tall and stocky. And but he was really good. Anyway, he's booked to come around next week. So that'll be great. So he can give Mick some exercises that will hopefully help him get a bit stronger, and things that he can do in a chair or on the bed. I mean, he won't do them because he never does, but at least we're showing willing. I'm getting somebody around, the physios come in, give him some exercises. I'll try and nag him to do it, but we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know. So that was I did try and then I failed, but then I succeeded. So what else? I had a few client sessions this week, which has been great. I really love these sessions because seeing my clients leave with useful strategies to implement, giving them different mindset, helping them think differently. And I also had some money come in this week, which is always nice when that happens. When these little emails pop up and say you have been paid. Love it. That absolutely fantastic moment. But the big thing was that I was invited to do a presentation for a housing association to celebrate International Women's Day, which I did. So we talked about what it would look like, and I did a presentation around 5 ways to accelerate your career, and I share top tips on how to climb the career ladder. I mean, this is what I do with women, so it was all content I kind of knew, but I pulled it into something specific for them on the day. And the session went really well. Apparently there was a lot of excitement about it. Over 60 people showed up live, and there was many more apparently who wanted to watch the replay. There was great engagement. Everybody answered all the engagement questions that I asked as we were going through, and there was lots of questions for me at the end, and then some really good feedback afterwards. Some people posted on LinkedIn that they'd had a really good time and that it had been really useful for them. So it was really good and it went really well, and I got paid for that, so that's fantastic. But when we were just getting started, and we logged on a bit early to make sure everything was set up, and there was another lady that logged on a bit early just to be there early. And as we were talking, she just piped up. She said, "Oh, do you mind if I just say?" And she said, "Oh, Sheila," she said, "I'm your number one fan." She said, "I love you. I follow you on LinkedIn. I love all your posts." She said, "And do you know what?" She said, "I think you're more inspiring than Dame Kelly Holmes," because they had a talk from Dame Kelly Holmes a couple of weeks ago celebrating diversity and LGBTQT plus. I've lost through the letters, but so all that diversity stuff. And this lady said, "I think you're more inspiring than Dame Kelly Holmes," and I was like, oh, wow. I mean, just wow. I mean, that just made my week. And I was so buzzing after that, that it's, everything is worthwhile to hear that, to have somebody think that I'm as inspiring as somebody like that, is just awesome. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to accept it with grace, and I'm going to let it drive me forward even more. So anyway, I'm going to finish it there because I've got nothing else to tell you that will top that. I will see you again soon.